So now I'm going to read from this new book. I got this email from a publisher in Portland, Oregon called Unsolicited Press. Said, if you haven't found a publisher, we're very interested in your manuscript. And I was just thrilled that, it's going to, instead of me doing print on demand, that they'll actually be a publisher that may give it some legitimacy. So I want to read a poem that will introduce me to you. And I decided that one of the big reasons poetry doesn't sell is because the promotional copy that poets write is really boring. And so I imagined, what if you had a romance writer write promotional copy for your book? Hot copy. Poetry book blurbs are so boring. In stark contrast, romance writers make the cover copy sizzle. Consider how they might describe my poetry. Sam Love is an alpha male who loves fishing, donuts, and obsessed heroes. His poetry specializes in over-the-top, sweet and cheesy metaphors that don't take all year to understand. If you want something short and sporting a hot cultural twist, the Love Man's poetry is for you. His sweet as pie similes will make 50 Shades of Grey seem like a children's primer. They're as hot as the Texas heat, and they'll make sparks fly like a red-hot welding torch. Blessed with the name Love, his sexy and steamy lines will leave you licking your lips for more hot poetry. So just lay back with this brooding alpha hero and savor his sweet rhythms and enjoy the titillating spark they ignite in your aging organs. As you contemplate his metaphors, get ready for a roller coaster ride, because Love is one linguistically hot poet ready to lasso your mind and turn your world upside down. Every phrase in that poem came from a description that I pulled from. I went on and looked at descriptions of these romance poems, and I just lifted the phrases. I mean, it was incredible. So I'll read some more from my book. So one of the surprises I had is that a magazine at one of the universities in London accepted one of my poems. And a number of my poems deal with spiritual issues, and this one's called Sitting Still. Thousands of miles of travel lead to a small village in India where the guru instructs us to learn to do nothing. Sitting still is harder than it looks for an overloaded Western mind that continuously dances through time and space. And here's another spiritual poem. I teach yoga, and I actually just saw the statistic that there are now 52,746 yoga teachers registered with Yoga Alliance. It's becoming a crowded field. But I get to see a lot of different styles of yoga pants, so I wrote a poem about yoga pants. I think this one was in Flying South. Defying gravity, from hatha to happy hour, the miracles of spandex, lycra, and cotton are ready to let your love shine through and create the illusion of working out without moving a muscle. The universal sound of Om can tingle your inner thighs and expand your mind and body with pants designed to tighten the sags and flatter your silhouette. So comfy, soft, and sexy, there's a design for every taste. Nondescript blacks and grays for the muted look. Skulls and peace symbols for standing out while working out. Tie-dyes and camo patterns for vanishing the dreadful butt dimple. Speed the transition from self-consciousness to consciousness by diverting wondering eyes away from your booty with colorful downward arrows creating the perfect skin-tight detour. In this age of chasing more, yoga pants are the perfect fashion for women to reveal a little less of everything. So here's another spiritual poem. I live in New Bern, and New Bern is the birthplace of Pepsi Cola. And so they actually have a drugstore there where it's been restored, and they have a soda fountain, and it's the place where Pepsi was invented. Newbern Shrine. A splash of orange catches my eye as a half-dozen bald Buddhist monks exit the historic district's sacred shrine, Pepsi-Cola's drugstore birthplace. Each of these purveyors of ancient wisdom lovingly cradles a 16-ounce cup of Pepsi. With every sip of the addictive liquid, their lips curl into a satisfying smile. Taking a break from meditation, perhaps they even found a path to enlightenment in the cola's old slogans. Pepsi, exhilarating, invigorating, and aids digestion. Pepsi, more bounce from the ounce. Pepsi, the soft drink, leaves you brighter than it found you. Still, one has to wonder if the vivacious ad models offering a tempting and tasty break, did that tempt the celibate monks? Okay. And
Caleb Browder.
yeah. Now, also write some environmental poems, and been reading a lot about what's happened to monarch butterflies, and so I wrote a poem about that. Translucent canaries. Around the rocky trails bend, flashes of orange flicker like smoky mountain fire as migrating monarchs recharge before taking flight to Mexico. So light and delicate, how could these orgasms of color navigate thousands of miles to their ancestral tree? Today, fewer monarchs migrate as development and herbicides decimate the milkweed on which they lay their eggs, eggs that hatch into colorful caterpillars. Dressed in banded stripes, the cats gorge themselves on milkweed and hang upside down on a stem and perform a rhythmic dance of squeezing and pulsing to disappear into a chrysalis cocoon, a safe incubator for a royal adult, an adult with translucent wings. After summer cycles of life and death, only the fall hatch will fly thousands of miles south to astound natives who believe the returning monarchs are the souls of departed warriors. Now, like a virtual canary in nature's coal mine, fewer monarchs overwinter in the Mexican forest until spring wakes the hibernators and they take wing north. Okay, and so, oh, thank you. I realized at one point I'd written more poems about my dog than my wife, so I set out to write a love poem, and she actually likes it, but it didn't quite come out like I expected. Yin Yang Love. I chuckle at TV singles ads offering to search their database for a mate with my same interest. A computer match program would never put us together. We are so different, you and I. You accept God. I struggle with the big question. You love meticulous order. I find creativity in chaos. You love people in books. I love people at parties. You balance your checkbook. I hope the bank gets it right. Only the Eastern yin-yang concept can explain our 30 years together. Yin-yang, an ancient Chinese symbol of black and white opposites intertwining to create a unity. Computers would never calculate a whole from universal opposites, light and dark, hot and cold, fire and water, masculine and feminine, life and death. That's why you'll never see a dating ad featuring opposite magnetic poles rushing toward each other to mate like lustful lovers. Still, the mystery for me is how you decided to take a chance on us. Now that's been quite a popular poem. I was invited to read it to two anniversary parties because someone have read this and says, this describes my relationship perfectly.